Hi, good afternoon, it's Dean from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, we've got some breaking news, and I would expect over the next week or so, for some of these bigger organisations that are, tracking the magnetic anomalies on the planet to make some announcements. We are starting to see, I believe, some activity. First of all, the TriMag is now banging over 13 degrees. More than ever now, so it's an indication that there is movement. It is still progressing, as you can see, in the direction of Russia. We've covered, I think for the first time in a long time, more distance than what we have seen it cover. It's a total of 4.32 miles in the last month, and for those that are interested in the latest longitude and latitude, we'll give you the latitude first. 83 degrees by 24 hours 20 minutes 59 seconds north. Longitude 124 degrees by 15 hours 39 minutes 0.1 seconds east. So if you're following it, those are where you've got to put your coordinates on your Google map, and you can pin that and follow it, the progression along with me. We're going to have a look at the TriMag data. We're also going to have a look at the magnetosphere data. All three fall in line with each other, and I'm really looking forward to receiving some data from one of our superstars, Kendall, a bit later on in the month. Around about the 22nd, he usually sends his data over, because I want to see if that also marries up with the changes that we've noticed. But the big thing is, guys, there has been some movement. We are definitely progressing. We've covered more, only by a margin, guys, only by a margin, but this is an indication that things could be heating up to get a little bit more exciting a little bit further down the road, as we will see, get closer to that all important 40 degree mark. Now, I want to say a big thank you to a couple of you guys out there. You know who you are, and I don't think you'd want me to mention your names, but amazing. Although we are still suffering, even with that little bit of support we got yesterday, and I am really grateful for any support we get. Although we are still suffering with one of the worst months we've ever had on record here at the observatory, I'm still glad that there are a few people that are prepared to chip in and recognise the work and effort that goes in. It's not just this, guys. On the 17th of every month, when we pull the data from the TriMag and the magnetosphere sensors here in the UK, we're also processing data from all our other little stations that our superstars run for us, and that is Arizona, Canada, Hong Kong, Perth, Australia, and on the Gold Coast of Australia, and also here in the UK. We've covered a lot of the territory we need to. There is still work to be done. We need to get into Brazil, and we need to get into Russia, and I'm hoping by next year we will be there, guys, and it will not be too soon. We need that there ASAP, but I do believe we will get there early next year with magnetometers in those two locations. The reason why we want it in Russia is because just south of the Arctic Circle, we've got the intensity in that region. I've marked it on this map, and I'll show you where that is. In that region, it is one of the highest intensities, and this is why the pole has started to migrate from Canada in the first place, because this is stealing the magnetic dipole from Canada. And as it does so, on this progression, I'm going to zoom out in a minute so you can see for yourselves. Might as well do that now. You can see, if we follow the corridor of where this is all going, let me first of all zoom out. If we follow the corridor of where all this is going, just bear with me. Okay. What we'll see is that this is on a rendezvous target with that position in Russia, and we're just about to come over the North Atlantic Ridge, as you can see, and there's our 40 degree mark coming into the picture in the corridor. And if we just follow the corridor along, we'll see where it's going to head up in I can't even pronounce that place, Kari, anyhow, in Russia, something Kari. I won't embarrass myself by trying to read it, because I know I'll just make an abortion of it, but we can see where the pin is for the new North Pole position. That is where that magnetic North Pole is heading, and that is the epicenter of the highest intensity over the northern hemisphere right now, and it is because that is strengthening, it is winning the magnetic North Pole off of Canada. If we just go back through the corridor, we'll see how close we are to the 40-degree mark. Probably 2.7, maybe 2.6 months away, years away from crossing that 40-degree mark. Now, if you saw the experiment again I recreated, albeit with the little motor turning the magnet round, and you could see the compass flicking, you could see clearly, hopefully, that when it got to around about 40 degrees, it went out of the strong field lines, which we're in right now, and getting very close to those weak field lines after that 40-degree mark, and it is at that point when the poles reverse on our planet. So we are heading into probably the most exciting times now at our observatory, and in this position at time that we're in right now with regards to this magnetic reversal. You know, it really is exciting to me. I know that there are, you know, some impacts that we are going to experience which are not going to be very pleasant for a lot of us. You know, we know that cancer rates are going to increase. We know that cardiac arrhythmia is going to be affected, and therefore cardiac arrest is going to occur more. And we also know that this doesn't affect ourselves only on this planet, it affects biodiversity across the range. We just don't know yet, guys, is all I'm saying. Is what I always express is there's a reason for there being 500,000 years delay on average from the last, you know, magnetic pole reversal that this Earth went through. So, you know, there's a reason for that. And, you know, I don't want to cause alarmism. What I want to do is just point out all the possibilities and the facts that we gather, and, you know, let you have that information and make decisions for yourself based on that information. You know, we are the only public observatory right now sharing this information as freely as we are, and that is only down to some very special people that recognise, you know, the effort that goes in, the enthusiasm and the work that we've, you know, put in to this date. It's not over yet. We're approaching one of the most exciting times, I believe, you know, of this generation. And, you know, we are very fortunate for this anomaly to take place in our lives. Can you believe how long ago it was? 750,000 years ago, guys. Just to put it into perspective, humans were not supposed to be around then. We were probably talking Neanderthal man. So there is no recorded data of what to expect. I'm not as enthusiastic as NASA. As you know, we have been emailed a couple of times from some people there. Never will I reveal the people's names, but I would just say this. They themselves are not sure what the outcome of this magnetic pole reversal will bring for us. And it is for that reason they are not going to create alarmism, and they are not going to notify people one way or another until it's too late. You've got to realise this, that is the schedule. You will be told at the very last minute. If you look at any of the films, and I do believe they try and base some of these films, like, you know, 2012, I don't know, Armageddon, and films like that, the knowing, it is at the very, very last minute that the general public are notified, and that is because right up to the last minute they want a working system in place so that everybody is doing their bit to keep the mechanisms going right up to the last minute, and it is at the last minute you're notified. Well, we've changed things a little bit here, guys, for you, because, you know, at least I have, you know, took it upon myself to set up an observatory to study this rare event for the first time, and we are going to see what happens from our observatory's point of view as we get closer and closer to that all important 40-degree mark, and then what happens after then will be reported, you know, as frequently as we need to make it for, you know, to get that information for you guys to see. So I'm just hoping that, you know, after today's video, some of you guys out there think, you know what, Gene needs a little help. We're going to now back him up, because, you know, we are getting close to one of the most important times of our life, and we're not far away from it. Even if it is 2.6 years away, that is not a long time, guys, and a lot can happen from now to then, and we're starting to see the changes take place. Before I end this video, I am going to mention the link down there for people to support us. You know, I would love to turn this situation around where we have had one of the worst months ever for support on this channel. I'd love to turn that around before the end of the month. You know, I do understand it's difficult times for people, but you know what? I believe that this information needs to be out there for people. And like I said, we should be hearing an announcement from these big organisations, maybe the ESA, European Space Agency, maybe NASA, or maybe even NOAA might be making an announcement just to confirm what I've told you in this video, that there has been noticeable uptick in the movement and behaviour of the poles on our planet. So with that, I'm going to move on now to show you the TriMag data, show you the magnetosphere data, which I feel fits you know, the extra movement that we've got and noticed here. So let's get on with that, shall we? So we're over at Pole Shift News. We're looking at the magnetosphere data. As you can see, we've got the current data up there over the last month, and I'm just going to bring your attention to the end of the chart where there is 1 microtesla drop, pretty rapid. And if you go back over the month of the last recording, you can see that this activity is getting more and more aggravated, you know, where the peaks and troughs become, you know, separated and more noticeable. I'm going to show you a few of the charts before I get on to talk about this a little bit more, but if we go back, we can see the aggravation of the charts being a lot less specific over, you know, the months previous. If we go back to this one, there's a noticeable change. You can see things are starting to happen more frequently, and the drops between 1 microtesla from 199 to 198 are becoming more frequent. I want to say this: other organisations don't cover it at the same resolution as us. We cover it in microteslas, they cover it in nanoteslas. So when, can you imagine, over the last few days they saw a 1000 nanotesla decrease in the magnetosphere strength, what they would have thought. And surely, like we are recording here, they must be noticing this happening more frequently and just wonder what the hell is going on. Let's have a quick look at the TriMag data, because there's something important I want to say about this. You can see that there's some more bumps that have occurred throughout the month on the data. Here we go, we're looking at 17th of the 12th 2020, and that was from last month's data. But if you notice, not so many bumps here, there is more activity, but I get to look at the raw data. I just put the chart up there so you can see in general how close we are getting to that number 15 on the left hand column. When I look at the raw data, obviously there's probably as you can see 300,000 different entries of data collected over the month, and what I get to see is the raw data. And I know that only recently I told you that we was over the 13-degree mark. Now we're starting to see that ping more on the collection points than ever before. So I don't know really what's going to happen. Are we going to see now, as we get close to that 40-degree mark, are we going to start to see things start to pick up? And if that's the case, we're passing new territory, because what we could be seeing is what we've seen happen twice already in the last 100 years, and that is like a gear change. That's where the speed increases of the migration, and it covers more distance in less time. If that's the case, things are warming up all that little bit more for the pole reversal to take place. And if that is the case, we know we are getting closer and closer to seeing the magnetosphere strength drop. Now we can confirm this, guys, because if we're starting to see shifts in the data, then all our superstars in the different locations around the world should also start to see the same happening with the data that they're collecting. So, you know, it is exciting times. There is you know, some activity which we're not sure, yet what it all means, but we are definitely noticing it, and it's going to be interesting to see whether these mainstream organisations come out and make an announcement about it. It really will. And if they come out within the next week, even better for us, because we've beat them once again to the table on notifying the general public on this event and things that are taking place during this event before they have. And I think that you'll agree that is the important thing, is that you get the information before everybody else, or before these organisations decide to release it. There's no more to talk about really, guys, other than just the important thing. Guys, I really don't like having to mention this. If there was another way of supporting this observatory, I would do it, and I would still deliver it free of charge for you. There is something else we're building on the back burner now. You know, we're building this new generator, and I will show you in tomorrow's video how we're getting on with that. It's coming on sweet, guys. It's really looking good. You know, we've had some big print jobs for the 3D printer, which has taken 9.5 hours to print some of the components, but we are still waiting for a few things to be delivered, and you know, we are still designing stuff in CAD, and then we'll send it into the slicer and get it printed off. And this is going to come together, I think, pretty quick. And I'm starting to, I've got to say, I really do like the look of it. It's probably one of the most sophisticated things we've printed off so far with the 3D printer, and it really does come into its own. You know, if I had to buy a spur gear at 20 centimeters diameter with 100 teeth on it to my specifications, I'd be talking about 150 quid easy. You know, I printed off 3 of these yesterday at that size, and I've also printed 12 small spur gears that goes onto the DC motors that will be acting as generators. So, you know, it's just amazing, not only to have the skills to operate the equipment, but to actually have the equipment at our disposal. Sorry, got indigestion. You know, for us to use. I think it's great. And I've got to say this, you know, we wouldn't have had that 3D printer if it weren't for people making the donations, as well as a lot of the other equipment, like, you know, the soldering station. It was all donated to us, and it's really great when people do that, because, you know, we're working as a team really, and I think a lot of people that do support the channel understands, you know, the problems that we're going to face as a result of that. This isn't like, you know, a dream. This is actually really happening. The magnetic poles on our planet are reversing, and you know, I think if we can come up with ways of generating electricity, if we can come up with ways with micro plantations for us to grow some foods in emergencies for ourselves, then all the better. You know, it's not a bad thing. But if we're on the same side of this, if we are providing information on current events with regards to the anomalies that are taking place on our Earth, and we're just making people aware of the changes that are taking place, I think we couldn't ask for any more. You know, I think a lot of people are already very happy, very proud to support what we do, and they don't mind doing it. So, you know, the only other thing to say here at this point, guys, is a big thank you to those few that supported us yesterday. You know, if I can encourage a few more to step up to the line and appreciate what we're doing here. You know, we don't talk all the time, we build, and you know, we collect data, we use the scientific method, and you know, if we can encourage a few more people to support us, then I've done my job. That's all I can say. You know, the only other thing to say to you guys is, you know, you enjoy the rest of the day. Tune in tomorrow and have a look at the generator, how that's coming on. I think you're going to be impressed. And you know, the only other thing is what I usually say, and that is bye for now.